You know, there was a time when folding phones felt like actual science fiction. Then for 5 long years, they started to feel like work. You know, slightly thinner, slightly faster, slightly more robust, or should we say less breaky. But now, finally, we've arrived at this. Samsung's all-new Galaxy Z Fold 7, and folks, this darn thing is just so dangerously good. So good, in fact, that if you walked into a Samsung or a Best Buy store like this one here and got to play with it, chances are you will end up buying it. And yes, it's expensive, and yes, it's familiar, but it's also the most quote-unquote normal folding phone that Samsung has ever made. And that, by the way, is not a complaint. If anything, that's the highest praise that I can give it. That said, in order to achieve this quote-unquote normal status, Samsung has had to make compromises, some of which you are not necessarily going to be happy to learn about. So come with me and let's go ahead and take a deep dive on Samsung's best foldable yet, and the first one that does not require an apology for using it. Let's go ahead and jump in. Let's start from the beginning. In the US, the Galaxy Z Fold 7 starts at $2,000. That's flagship computer money. Heck, that's vacation money for an entire family. But Samsung knows how to sweeten that sting with some of the insane trade deals that could save you up to $1,250 off the 512 gigs model. I'll make sure to keep that link in the description so that you can save on this phone here. Now let's move on to this design revolution here. So for the very first time, this foldable feels like a regular phone, and that's in quotation marks, meaning when the phone is closed, it's essentially your typical candy bar phone. The now upgraded and much larger cover display is finally boasting a friendly 21:9 aspect ratio. It truly is usable. It's comfortable, and dare I say, normal, because you can actually type on this thing without wanting to cry. The hinge here, as you can see, is thinner, it's sturdy, but in my experience though, not as rigid as I remember it being on the previous Fold. But that could be me, and just to stress the sheer slenderness of this phone here, I found myself more than a few times fumbling just trying to get it to open. It's not a complaint here per se, but more of an illustration of just how slim it is. And of course, I shouldn't be surprised given the size of these mittens that I have here. It's also incredibly light at 250 grams, and when folded, the whole thing is about as chunky as a regular phone, as I mentioned already. It slips into your pocket like it belongs there, and more importantly, it does not feel like a prototype anymore. And by the way, if this is your first time visiting, welcome to the channel. Of course, please do me a favor, hit both the like and the subscribe button there. I truly appreciate that. Now, along with that IP48 rating for water and dust resistance, we still find many of the, typical suspects. Your USB Type-C port, the power button with the built-in fingerprint sensor, and of course, a dual speaker setup here, which pushes pretty nice audio quality. It's crisp, it's well balanced, but I do wish it had just a touch more bass to really hit those low notes. Now, normally this is the part where I'd be covering the S Pen. Not this time, because the Fold 7 here has officially gone stylus free. And according to Samsung, that decision came down to physics, I guess. You see, to get it this thin, they had to remove the digitizer layer that made stylus input possible. So, for better or worse, the Fold 7 traded functionality for beauty. Now, as of whether that was worth it, well, the jury is still out. Personally, I'd rather have it, but that's just me. Anyways, let's go ahead and move on to display here. Samsung finally gave the cover screen here some breathing room, right? So, as I mentioned earlier, it's now 6.5 inches, and that 21:9 aspect ratio has truly enhanced my personal user experience. Texting, tweeting, searching is It's not just better, it's normal, right? It's been normalized on the foldable, on the Samsung foldable here for once. And beyond the keyboard improvements, apps now also have more room to breathe, giving it just a clean and proper UI the way it should be. And picture quality here is premium level in, typical Samsung fashion, this time with a larger outer display, while at the same time boasting flagship specs, dynamic AMOLED, high refresh rate at up to 120 Hz, and all of that good stuff. Now, even though that cover display is highly practical, especially on this one, the foldable or the Z Fold line crown jewel still remains that expansive inner display that turns your phone here, your foldable here, into a tablet. It's now a 7-inch foldable dynamic LTPO AMOLED 2x display. It's going to share that same refresh rate as the cover display with support for HDR10+, and you also have that Retina searing brightness at 2600 nits. That's peak brightness, of course. And this has been making content consumption here just a dream, even under direct sunlight. Image quality is super sharp, it's crisp, colors are super vibrant with inky blacks and inky reds. Again, my user experience here has just been top notch. And oh, remember that super cool yet terrible 4-megapixel under display camera that we saw on the previous generations? Well, it's gone, replaced by a regular, not under the display and very visible 10-megapixel hole punch here. And as I said, it may not be invisible, but it certainly seems far more usable than the UDC, especially for video calls. But personally, and that's just me, I would have preferred to have that crappy yet cool under the display camera we had on the Z Fold 6. Or, ready for this? No camera at all. Because remember, there's an already fantastic selfie camera here, right? On the front here, meaning you have 2 selfie cameras here, which I think is unnecessary, because you can even turn the main camera into a selfie camera, making it 3 selfie cameras. That's just overkill. But then again, hey, that's just me. And oh, that crease, well, it's still there, but it's been slowly fading by the iteration, and I can tell you that it's even less visible this time around. You can barely see it now. Moving on to performance now. The Galaxy Z Fold 7 here is boasting a Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy, which is the current fastest and most powerful chip you will find on any mainstream smartphone. It is extremely powerful. I mean, we're talking top-level neural processing, super strong graphics, and, the whole shebang. It's also coupled with 12 gigs of RAM, and in my experience so far, I've had absolutely 0 complaints. It literally has been plowing through everything from high-level gaming to high-level multitasking, and even video editing without ever stuttering. And if you want to go all out, there's also a 1 terabyte of the Z Fold 7 here that does come with 16 gigs of RAM. For software here, it's running the all-new Android 16 out of the box, along with One UI 8 sitting on top of that, meaning you are getting all of the latest upgrades, better multitasking, smoother multi-window, along with all of the AI bells and whistles. I mean, One UI truly feels like it was designed for this phone specifically. And in doing so, Samsung is essentially continuing to lead the pack when it comes down to, optimized use of that gigantic display real estate. Now, cameras. And I'm sure by now you've seen a bunch of videos showing the camera bump here do the weeble wobble on top of different desks, but there is a reason behind that. That is the obvious design change, but also the main camera is now 200 megapixel. That's right, it finally joins the high megapixel party. And while it doesn't have the same lens hardware as the Galaxy S25 Ultra, it's a massive upgrade from previous folds. And even though, on the other hand, the telephoto and ultra wide are the same as before, 10 and 12 megapixel respectively, they are still very competent. So overall, not exactly to the T, the S25 Ultra level, given that the lens hardware isn't identical, but it is just miles ahead the previous folds. This iteration of the Fold has seen a proper upgrade, almost worthy of its price tag. And like I said before, it's finally the one that you won't feel the need to apologize for when you use it. Although, now we gotta talk about one of the biggest compromises, right? Battery. The Galaxy Z Fold here is boasting a 4,400 milliamp hour battery. That is that same size as what we saw last year with the Z Fold 6. And even though this phone is boasting a powerful chipset with fantastic optimization, I would have loved it if they had added a larger battery, especially at this price point, right? Also because of the fact that we know that it's possible. So, I don't know. Next iteration? Maybe? Who knows? Now, I do have to add that I've been surprised to go the entire day on a single charge, but I have to put it on the charger in the evening, otherwise it's just tapped out. Keep in mind, of course, that this is subjective, right? Also, remember that charging is capped at 25 watt wired and 15 watt wireless, right? And yes, reverse wireless is still there. Now, with all of this being said, there is just no question that Samsung is constantly trying to change the mainstream smartphone market landscape in this sea of sameness. But even with that, the main question remains: is the all-new Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7 here deserving of a whopping $2,000 price tag? I think it's a tough sell. It's a tough pitch. But on a personal note, I do think it is worth it. Sure, this segment of the market is still pretty far from mainstream, and you're not gonna have everyone rocking one of these as their regular phone, but the opportunity to do so is there. Now, as for me, I'm definitely gonna be enjoying this device to the fullest. It's just undeniably cool. It is futuristic. It is a major step for Samsung. I'm even gonna say it's a game changer and kind of a new chapter in Samsung's foldable story, right? And that is simply because the Z Fold 7 is the best foldable, best mainstream foldable you could get your hands on in the United States. So I highly recommend this phone here if you happen to be in the market for one. Let me know what any questions you may have. Let me know if you agree or disagree. Let's have that conversation in the comment section. And do not forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already. Hit both the like and the subscribe button there, which I appreciate. I'm gonna catch you in the comment section like I always do. I'm also gonna catch you in the next video. Up until that next video, of course, as always, stay safe out there.